Welcome to another edition of Stuck, Time to Improv with advice for startup businesses. And today we're going to be talking about how to show yourself, your product, your service at your best. And that's about hiring a good photographer. So we have Rita Thomas from Rita Thomas Enterprises, who happens to be a really good photographer. So welcome, Rita.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us, what made you decide to become a photographer, and what are some of the things you like best about it?
Oh my goodness, I have loved photography since I can remember. My dad loved photography. And so I just was always at his knee watching everything he did. And I loved, as I started to grow up, I could look back at the older pictures of us and the places we had been, and you feel like you're right back there again in the moment. And I just loved that feeling. And so I have always done hobby photography until about 12 years ago, I became a professional. And I mostly specialize in marketing and branding pictures for business owners, which includes, of course, their products, their videos to put on social media and their website, and testimonials from their clients. And just about any kind of exposure that a business owner would need, I can work with them on that. And I absolutely love it.
Great. So what kind of questions does a startup need to be able to ask to know that they're hiring the right photographer for them?
And there are lots of photographers out there, aren't there? It seems like, at least in the town where I live, there's a lot of them. And the price you're going to pay will vary. I've seen people offer headshots for $25, and I've seen headshots that cost $500 just to book the appointment, and then you buy from there. So you're probably going to be very confused if you just look at how much the photographer charges. The very best way to pick a photographer that you think is going to represent your company well is to look at their work. They should have a lot of their work on social media or on their website. So they should have lots of examples of the kind of product that they produce. And some of them, they're light and airy, so everything is really very bright and almost white. And then some of them do have a darker, more rougher kind of edge, and some people like that for their business. All depends on your business. The standard is going to be the studio with the backdrop and the suit and tie. You know, a lot of businesses want to represent stability, dependability, trustworthiness. They believe that that kind of look is what they want. So you need to know the look you're going for. A lot of people in business have a persona that is much more fun, very lighthearted. They want a headshot where they're doing something quirky. And so you need to find a photographer who's going to be able to work with your style that you want to represent to the world. So that's one thing to look at. The best representation is going to be two things: the pictures you can see that they took online, and recommendations from other people. This is one place where when you put it out on Facebook and you go, who's the best business photographer or headshot photographer in my town? Ask the question, you will get 175 answers. And you'll probably get 100 different photographers named, but some of them will be named over and over and over again. One piece of business I got last year, on one of those posts, I was recommended 6 times by 6 different people, and I got the job because I reached back out to the person. We were a good fit, and so I got the job.
So sometimes you need more than one photographer. Sometimes you want a good headshot specialist, and sometimes you want someone who's really good at capturing those candid things. Because particularly with startup businesses, if you're doing an app or you're doing a piece of biotechnology that you wear,
Yeah.
You want to see the product in action, and you want to see it in action with real people rather than actors, because particularly in social media, it's about authenticity, and people can tell if it's been staged.
Right. And so if you're
careful not to stage things for social media.
Mm-hmm. If your photographer only has a studio and only shoots in the studio, then that's going to eliminate any outdoor pictures you might like, especially if you have something like that or a product where it's a sporting kind of thing. You need it to be outdoors or on your location. If they only shoot in their own studio, then you're not going to be able to shoot at your location, which is going to be really important, because when people see you in your environment, then that builds that they'll get to know you, they'll start to like you, and then they'll start to trust you. And that's when they give you their money.
Right. And similarly, if you're hiring someone to shoot video for you, you want to know that you can work with them, that they have some skills in your field of interest,
yes.
That they've got possibly some experience shooting those kinds of things as well. So the cool factor doesn't necessarily make you money. It depends on who you are, who your target market is. And when you're going for venture capital, you want to be able to demonstrate that you actually connect with your clients.
That's exactly right. And if you're going to, did you want to touch on if they do it themselves instead of
Sure.
hiring?
What kinds of things should people be aware of if they're going to try to do it themselves?
If you're going to try and do your photography by yourself or your videography, if you have a DSLR camera or any kind of handheld camera, it's probably going to be a higher quality than your phone, but the phone is totally adequate for social media, not for your headshot, but for social media. And the second most important thing, first is a high quality camera or your cell phone. If that's all you have, don't let it hold you back if all you have is a cell phone, okay? But lighting is your second most important thing. So you have to have a camera, and the lighting is very important. Right now, I have a little ring light that I bought on Amazon, and I have it actually pointing away from me, bouncing off a white background back to me. So it's softer, but everything is lit well, and I'm not blown out with too much light.
Right. And you don't want to see the rings reflected in people's glasses.
Yeah, right. Another thing is pay attention to your background. So if you're going to be on Zoom like I am, I have my background blurred, but if you're in your office and it's messy and you don't want to portray that, turn yourself, maybe shut the office door and stand where the office door is your backdrop. Just pay attention to your background and the message that you're sending with that as well. So camera, lighting, and your setting, especially what's behind you in the picture.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. This has been enlightening, and we can really put our best foot forward with the pictures on websites and social media. Thanks again, Rita Thomas. And this is Mary Scott from Business Riff. I provide business concierge services for startups to help them validate their ideas, avoid common mistakes, and find exactly the right resources for them to succeed faster. Thank you for joining us at Stuck, Time to Improv.